What's the dumbest thing you've ever done when absolutely baked? I smoke a lot. Usually the equivalent of 4 J's a night, and every so often me and my wife will take brownies to start it off before we smoke. A buddy of mine stopped by my work 2 days ago and we talked for a bit. He's leaving and he asked me if I want a brownie with 500 milligrams. I thought that may or may not be fun. Let me find out. I pop the brownie 15 minutes before I leave work and drive the 5 minutes home. I talk to the wife and the kids for a bit and everything is great. I go outside with my wife. We smoke a bowl and marinate nicely on the couch for an hour. Everything is perfect. I mean, I'm baked as giraffe nerds. I'm seeing in Swedish and smelling colors, but that was the point, right? Kids go to bed, we snack a bit, and decide to smoke another bowl as well as eat a brownie of our own. We come back inside to watch some TV. I take a shower and it is one of the best experiences I've had in my life. I could feel every molecule of water on my body. However, looking back I realize I tried to pass out multiple times while I was there. I get out and throw some sleep pants on, returning to the living room with my wife, both still as baked as a fresh out of the oven chocolate chip cookie by grandma. We talk, watch a Vin Diesel movie and decide to go to the bedroom for a little private time. I remember thinking to myself, these brownies ain't all that. This is when the effing bear reached out and tried to take my soul, word to David Goggins, with his sticky little claws. My reality and everyone else's reality at this point do not exist fully together. I'm told this is the first time I will bounce off the floor. I know as I pull myself up and know instantly that the night is about to go bad, so I focus on my wife who always means the world to me but right now is my everything. I try to pull myself together and talk to her. Then I turn around and find the source of all the current problems. I never name this entity that torments me for the next 2 hours and have no memory of a visual. But according to my wife, he was a huge piece of crap and an a-hole. Those everyone are my words. Apparently I swung at this entity for 10 minutes straight while screaming only to collapse on the floor after and rejoice as I have defeated him. But then he gets back up after being defeated. I see this and scream, "You're not taking any of us," and the fight is on. I start throwing punches and then crumple to the floor. My wife rushes to me and helps me up. I'm able to focus on her and be fine, but anytime I turn my head I'm convinced someone right there is going to take me or my family, since every time I look away I'm screaming, "You won't take me, my kids, or especially her." The fight rages a few more times with me fighting this thing in my head, but every time my wife touches me I let her control my actions, placing me on the bed or holding my arms behind my back as I cuss and degrade this entity. Whenever I'm looking at her I'm able to regain my sanity for a bit. Every time I can see her I'm telling her how much she means to me. I start to pull it all together. I remember looking at her saying we should have intimacy, that way I can focus, reboot my brain and I can stop this bullcrap. Pulling from all the past bad experiences from half as much grass, thinking I knew exactly what was going on. My friends, I did not fully understand the level of effed up I was, because now I am fully unclothed and for some reason, oiled myself up, and the fight is on. I am gladiator style fighting this thing, balls swinging in the gentle breeze. I allow my wife to control me again and we lay in bed. I would lay there trying to calm myself only to find myself on the floor over and over. My torso is bruised all over from bouncing off the end table. After this point I knew what was there for me, since he was pulling me off the bed and trying to pull me with him through the floor. I remember pulling myself up off the floor trying to escape with the entity pulling heavily on me. Fighting with every bit of my strength, screaming that I won't effing go and it wasn't strong enough to take me. I'm sure the wife is beyond sick of me at this point, but she is an amazing person and just tried to calm me and be my rock over and over. Then standing unclothed and oiled up at the end of the bed, bleeding from a self-inflicted cedar trunk wound on my shin, I start talking. This, everyone, is the end of my world and I'm not letting it happen. I'm gonna argue my way out of it so I can stay and protect my family. My argument? Indecipherable to any human, including my wife, but I cried and yelled a lot. The entity, by the way, is still a huge piece of crap. Then realizing I wasn't dying but the universe that revolved around me was crashing like a computer program, I accepted my fate and laid holding my loving wife. I laid there, with her consoling me, lying to me that it was just the brownies. I waited for the end of all existence. I felt my racing heart rate calm and stop. I felt her heart stop with mine. I flowed through the cosmos as different feelings in a pitch black out-of-body experience. This time right here with my wife holding me almost made it worth it. Not really, but I did enjoy it. Then I woke up yesterday extremely sore, still kinda baked, and went to work. I came to grips it was just the brownie and for the first time in about 2 years did not smoke last night. I'm pretty sure I was always my wife's backup plan. Last night I had a conversation with my wife. I started off by saying, "I don't know what you thought you were going to accomplish by telling me that you were repelled by my touch. You want to explore your interests with other men and women and want to be alone. I think you thought if you were just being honest it was right and okay, but it showed me just how little respect you have for me. I don't think you realize just how insulting and disrespectful everything you said is. You do not consider my feelings at all, you seek validation from other men and never set any proper boundaries until either I find out or a line has been crossed. I literally cannot remember a time in 20 years where you have said stop, this is inappropriate and I don't think it should go any further. You let a friend tell you he loved you and liked your butt and you weren't even the one to stop communication, he was. His therapist could tell the conversation was unhealthy, I could tell the conversation was unhealthy but you couldn't. You either don't respect me enough to put my feelings ahead of your own need for validation or you simply don't care. I can't fix this, and you don't seem to want to fix this. I have been there for you for 20 years, I have never wavered in my love for you, my affection, my devotion, but you can't say the same. You clearly think you're missing out on something, and think exploring that in the arms of another person will fill that hole inside of you, but it won't. All it will do is leave you completely and entirely alone. Our family will be gone, I will be gone and you will have nothing at all because you think the grass might be greener on the other side. I can't imagine a person who has a loving husband who cares for them, respects them and thinks the world of them, who has 3 beautiful kids, a great support network, good friends and a loving family that thinks if they abandon their entire life for some fleeting new experience they will be fulfilled. You use me, plain and simple. I am a safety net for you. You can spend all the time in the world trying to figure yourself out and you'll have a safe spot to come home to, not a partner, not someone you treat as a husband, but someone you lie to, lead them on and take advantage of. I am not a fallback, I am not a safety net. I am a person who absolutely deserves love, touch, romance and admiration. I deserve respect and reciprocation. I want to be clear that I absolutely think you not telling me about these issues and letting an entire year pass while letting me think things were improving and getting better is lying by omission. I will be attending therapy by myself, to find out why I've been such a doormat, to figure out why I've tolerated such abuse and neglect from the person that was supposed to guard and protect me, who was supposed to share my life forever. I am not at this time asking for a divorce, and provided you are not asking for one, things will need to move forward differently. You will need to attend therapy by yourself. After 6 months of both of us being in therapy we can talk about doing couples therapy. You will stop seeking validation from other men. I do not want to police your conversations, but single men should not be people you talk daily with until you go through therapy and can clearly set boundaries and enforce them if they are broken. You have to win me back, you will have to woo me and get me to fall in love with you again. I expect romance, in dates and our daily lives. The fact that I can't be romantic with you because you decided you didn't like it, but also decided that because you don't like romance that I don't deserve it is very selfish. I will not under any circumstances accept an open marriage. I don't ever want to hear of it again. I am not okay with you being intimate with any man or woman other than myself. Asking for monogamy shouldn't be that big of an ask, and if that truly is a deal breaker for you, I understand and we can divorce and you can pursue other people. I acknowledge that some of what I'm saying is demanding, but I am standing up for myself and what I want. I deserve better and will not settle for just enough any longer. If anything I've said here makes you want to say you are done, we can separate and file for divorce. We'll sell the house and agree upon a 50-50 custody agreement for the kids. I will never use the kids to hurt you and will co-parent with you to the absolute best of my abilities. Despite the harsh tone, I will still reiterate that I love you with all of my heart, and want to spend my entire life with you, watching our children grow up together. But I will not be an afterthought anymore. I won't play second fiddle to an imaginary life you might want to pursue. That was my monologue. One of the things she has always said to me when we have conversations is, I don't know if I'll ever be enough for you. She says this because she doesn't know if she can meet my expectations of what a good loving wife should be. I told her this time that you may think you don't know if you can be enough for me, but I right now know you are not. We talked for a while and she is going to therapy. We are going to work on our relationship. I can't just throw away 20 years without giving it my absolute all. Have you ever accidentally shown someone your camera roll? So the night before my shift I decide to re-download a couple dating apps, and after talking to a couple nice people, named F and M, we exchange numbers and text on WhatsApp. The conversations sort of peter out and die after we sort of exchange pictures and realize it wasn't meant to be. I think nothing of it, delete the apps and move on with my evening. In my mind I assumed that the pictures that weren't my own also disappeared with the apps being deleted. Flash forward to today and I work in a small space with 2 other coworkers. One of them is a newish starter and asks me some questions about my hair as I'm bald by choice. I have had a significant glow up in the past few years which included shaving my head, so I thought I would grab my old ID and download a couple of my fitness pictures from about 5 years ago just to show her what I used to look like. Whilst we don't speak much on shift, I appreciated the fact she was making an effort, so I was thinking this is finally the shift where we break the ice and maybe I'll learn a bit more about her too. I knew I had my own explicit pics in my gallery and a whole bunch of garbage screenshots so as to avoid any potential mishaps. So I made sure to take about 25 blank screenshots so that there was absolutely no way she could fat finger and accidentally swipe left or right and see them. So I hand her my ID first of all, and she's dumbfounded. Well, that's not you. You look like a completely different person. Whilst she has the ID in both hands I go to show her my phone. But she assumes I'm passing it to her, so in our sort of awkward fumble she grabs the top left of my iPhone, which just so happens to have the back key in that exact corner. I see my photo gallery zoom out and a moment of clarity happens, where I recognize a set of honkers and a PP framed perfectly along the top of the screen, due to the barrage of screenshots I took earlier and sheer luck. It had framed them perfectly across the top 3 rows of my gallery. If I had pressed the screenshot button 10 more times or not had my gallery zoomed out, this wouldn't have happened. This gallery was like the middle aisle of Aldi. It had everything: honkers, girls and guys' butts, asses, guys' peepees, womanhoods all on show, and a couple of my own images too. All very small, but framed perfectly like a small set of bathroom tiles arranged to make a small human mosaic. You couldn't quite tell sizes and imperfections, but you could very easily see that it was humans doing NSFW activities. I go to pull my phone away, but the damage is already done. She politely tells me to never show her a photo on my phone ever again and goes to the toilet. When she returns I profusely apologize. No one comes to work to see that. I'm so sorry, it was an accident. Whilst I don't try to explain that all of these photos aren't me, she has no way to know. This girl has just been blasted by the equivalent of a Pinterest board of adult films. I feel the energy in the room gets awkward. So I leave it. We usually make coffees for each other for free when we finish our shifts. As my shift ends I ask her to make me a coffee before I go. She overcharges me. I don't question it. I pay and sip my flat white in the rain, knowing that this event will probably be spoken about in future without my knowledge, if that's in therapy or in a pub. I don't know, but I just hope she doesn't think the honkers are mine.